Now, the Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation aims to drive insightful conversations on social and global issues to create an impact on communities. Osayi Alile, she's the CEO of ACT Foundation. She joins me to explore ways to drive social impact in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, then. But when you look at social impact in Nigeria, I'd like to know first what comes to mind in Nigeria and how has that journey been so far for you?
I mean, it's been a very interesting journey, especially because we've actually, not only with ACT, a lot of organizations have been doing a lot of work in Nigeria and across Africa over the years in terms of social impact. But there's still so much to be done. I mean, even your past speaker just mentioned a few things that we're talking about in terms of health. So we do have a lot of issues and challenges, but we do have people that are consistently working along those lines to bring about results as well. Yeah.
All right. Now, I see that you're putting the dialogue together the third time this time around.
Yes.
And I see that you're trying to focus more on that social angle
Yes.
and more or less also looking global and then trying to engage more, for growth and development.
Of course, yes.
I'd like you to tell me how you plan to take it out this time around.
I mean, this time we are looking more in terms of social and global impact, but also wondering how we can leverage the three tiers. I mean, of course, you have the public sector, the private sector, and the social sector. We are the third tier, but we're just as important as the other machineries as well. And we must all work hand in hand. We are driving a lot of collaborations and partnerships. The challenges we're facing in Africa and in Nigeria today cannot be solved by just one organization. So we're talking and speaking to the social organizations to come together and do things together, but also get involved with the private sector and the public sector as well, and see how best we can move this to the next level.
All right, but then for the companies that you're engaging with and
Yes.
you're working with, what's the sort of feedback you're getting from them regards to working in an environment, especially in Nigeria?
I mean, we get very good feedbacks because people are now asking questions, but not only asking questions, they're asking for results. So they want also very steady results, and they want to make sure that their impact is actually measured. So it's not now about numbers, it's more about the impact and the changes that you're making in the environment that you're working with. So you see people that have been working 10 years in health in a community in Kaduna now, but the organizations they're working with are now asking them that what is the impact in the community that you're working with? And those are the things that we're also trying to push.
But measuring impact and monitoring, it's not that easy push.
Definitely not. It's not easy,
yeah.
but it's done. It can be done. We just have to think and change the way we've been doing things in the when we go into a community, you also want to make sure that you understand what the community needs. And so once you understand that what you're bringing to that community is what they actually need, then it's easier for you to be able to measure an impact.
All right, then. But still on that, though, I hear you're putting together like a change makers
Yes.
innovation challenge.
Yes.
What form is this going to take, and what kind of areas are you looking to the scope?
Yeah, we're looking more in terms of technology because, of course, the next frontier is what we're talking about is IT, IE, and stuff like that. So we're asking people to come up with more innovative ways that we can solve the community problems that we're dealing with. So, of course, you have someone that can stay in Lagos and create and change things that are happening in Niger State or any other state in Plateau or somewhere. But once you have technology, it's easier for you to do those things, and then we can do a ripple effect in the long term. So instead of you working and talking about 2,000 people, you're even talking about 100,000 people. So we are pushing more for people to think more innovative and also for them to think more in terms of solutions.
All right, but then how do you scale that? Because we understand what technology can do. How do you help them to scale? Do you now have sessions where you help to build capacity in forms of training and getting people together too?
That's really one of the reasons why we do the dialogue. The dialogue is actually coming up with more solutions to more problems. And then we're talking about, when you talk about scaling, which you just mentioned, where we don't give awards, we just give them money to go ahead. We work hand in hand with them. The 47 organizations that we're working with across Nigeria, and we work in 36 states already, is that we work with them at everything that they need to do. We help them in terms of governance, we help them in terms of finance, HR. We are working with them as we work with any business organization. Most people see nonprofits as a passionate organization. It's first of all a business, and when it's a social business, because the business that we want to outlive the generation of who is working there right now, but also we want it to be sustainable in the long term, and that's where the hand-holding is necessary.
All right, then interesting you mentioned technology earlier because you now also understand that there are a lot of digital tools available to them to use now. You know, with the advent of big data analytics, you can see where they're going right and going wrong. You know, then how are you helping them to infuse that in their different organizations?
Yeah, well, anyone that works with us, first of all, knows that we use technology for everything, from the beginning to the very end. And so we're even telling them, even our gathering data on the field, it's all technology based as well. So yes, we all have to learn it, but it's such a necessary tool to have because it helps you reduce the errors that you always make. You know, when you go in there, you start counting people. That's not going to work. Or when you're telling me at the end of the day that I went into this community and Mr. So-and-so said this, but now immediately it's done, it's put in, we get it instantly as well, right back in our own office. So everything must be technologically driven. And the only thing we ask new non-profits to do is that they should open their minds and learn and unlearn as well.
All right, then, because talking about learning and unlearning, it's interesting because you understand that the skills you need to start an NGO is different from that which you need to keep it running.
Yes.
And then to ensure that it's sustainable and it lasts over time. So how are you helping them are you walking them through to put all this in?
We do capacity training all the time. I mean, we do sometimes 6, 7 in a year and working through the process. So, of course, you get in, first of all, to be a grantee, and then also to sustain the organization. We're even thinking past when they work with us as ACT Foundation. We're thinking past that session. So I always tell people, I want to be able to look back in 20 years and see an organization that is still standing after we have even left them 20 years after. And that's the same way we want to see the organization. We're working and hand-holding them, helping them to change even the foundations that are built that have not been done properly. And you know, you cannot build a 5-story building on a bungalow foundation. So we're trying to make sure that that foundation is very strong and everything that they need, even in terms of governance and corporate structure, is there and they are willing to be able to do it. And that's why we keep on pushing that you must unlearn. So a lot of times we get comfortable where we sit. We must learn and we must unlearn as well.
All right, but then driving social impact, it's more or less, when you look at it in the long run, it's more or less driven by passion.
Yes.
And that passion is more or less about the people. Yeah. You know, people have to be passionate about what they're doing, about trying to get this change done, or they see a problem, or they're trying to fix it. And in the I'd like you to speak to that importance of, you know, getting the right people or knowing the right people who are passionate about each cause and driving to solve that problem.
I mean, passion is the first thing. I mean, I work with a lot of NGOs and I've worked with them over the last 20 years. And that's what wakes you up in the morning, especially because of the challenges. I mean, it can be very daunting going into the communities and working with these people. But once you have the passion, it enables you. But I also say with the passion must come a business sense as well. Because we also want our passion to work hand in hand with what we want an organization to be like. So if you want to be sustainable in the long term, you need to be able to say, how do we manage these two together? But I'm driven by passion all the time. That's what wakes me up in the morning and say, okay, I need to get this thing done. And a lot of people are, but your passion must also work and be balanced out with how it means and the fundamentals of running an organization and running it well.
All right, then thank you so much for your time and good luck with the dialogue sessions. I've been speaking with Osayi Alile. She's the CEO of ACT Foundation.